Welcome back to the July 1st, 2018 edition of the Jackson Neill Music Podcast. Just got done recording my Jackson Neill Sports Podcast. That's up on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, and YouTube as well, about LeBron James going to the Los Angeles Lakers. That just got announced probably like 45 minutes, an hour before I started recording this podcast. Go check that out right now after you listen to this one, though. Because on this July 1st, gotta get July started off on such a high note. Talking about LeBron going to the Lakers in the sports one. And now, in my music podcast, giving my initial reaction on a brand new Drake album. Wow, what an awesome July 1st. Just kicking off July 2018 the right way. It's going to be, I've been looking forward to this month, and it's going to be a great one, and we can already tell that already between this LeBron and this new Drake album. It's the biggest names in sports and music just making absolutely crazy headlines. And now, let's just jump into this music podcast. I can't spend any more time talking about LeBron, just talking about him for like close to 20 minutes in the other podcast. Just so mind-boggling, his move. Not mind-boggling, but just so crazy, and so many different reactions from it. But talking about Drake, because his album had a very similar effect on me as well, because he's the biggest person in the hip-hop industry. He's arguably, now, I don't understand why he doesn't sell stadiums like this. I'm not sure why not, but he's arguably the biggest artist in the world as well, where between breaking all these records and how much he sells, he doesn't sell out stadiums like other people do, but he certainly sells his music better than anyone does. And Drake, his latest album, Scorpion, it arrived on Friday. I want to do this podcast for a little bit, and I finally got around to it. And I just want to offer my initial reaction from it, because this is all it is. It's not necessarily a full-length review of it, because I haven't given it that time of day. I will want to do that podcast soon, but I just want to do a quick reaction, because there's a lot to take away from it to start off. And we all know the A-side is a more hip-hop based Drake, and the B-side is more the R&B. Something I've been looking forward for Drake to do for so long. Finally does on Scorpion. I think gives everyone a little bit of what they want in that regard. And just looking at starting at the hip-hop side, I like that he chose that one first, because that's how we always identify him. And I thought that was, every album of his is a hip-hop album. He's a rapper. So for him to start out with the hip-hop side first, I really liked that move. In terms of the songs and the style of the A-side, it's one I've spent more attention to because I'm more of a hip-hop fan. And I have to admit, I am impressed. Because coming off albums like Views and the playlist he called More Life, the overwhelming sense I got from there was that the bars that Drake has to offer just aren't there anymore. Because, if you're reading this, It's Too Late was arguably some of the best bars Drake has ever dropped. Just that mixtape, it was rap. It was just these hip hop tracks where Drake really went in on them. And Views definitely was not like that. He was going for a vibe. I really liked it, but I understand its shortcomings. More Life was just this playlist, rather, where he just went around different parts of the world and made a global playlist for the year 2017, basically, from all these different sounds around the world, which I thought was really cool, but still didn't have the kind of bars that I would want from Drake. And the one song that kind of did, and the kind of song that these tracks remind me of in a sense, is Do Not Disturb, that last track off More Life, where Drake gets in that kind of, lustful looking out, wondering, what's going on. Yeah, I'm successful, but there's pitfalls to it, and I'm still, even though I have all this money, I'm still emotional. Think about his best projects ever. Take Care. I would argue that being his best project ever, and that was when he was completely in his feelings. Nothing Was the Same had a lot of that as well, although it had a little bit more of bravado in it, which this also features. It has a little bit of both, where something like God's Plan, where I'm upset, is him just kind of being bravado, but I think 8 out of 10 really nails it down, where, he's like, your girlfriend's pressing play, your sister's pressing play, your wifey, like that chorus is awesome, and it's just that bravado Drake. But then there's just these other lyrics throughout it where it gets to that kind of more emotional side from him in a hip-hop setting. Because it's not that difficult to be emotional in R&B. It's a genre meant for that. Have emotions. And you see him on the B-side, have some emotions with love and all that. But in hip-hop, that's what Drake's done so well, is being able to kind of meld that into this own way that only he can do it. And on tracks like Emotionless, ironically, or Is There More, first of all, he reveals, yes, Adonis is his kid. So he has that. We know that now. But especially on Is There More, you get that overwhelming sense from Drake. Like, you hear him rap about how he has everything, all these material things, all these amazing experiences. But maybe he's thinking about settling down and starting a family. You get that, like, is there more to life? And he mentions being a father in there, and you start to wonder, is Drake settling down to have a family? We always heard that, where in one lyric he said he's going to retire when he's 35 or something like that. Is he trying to settle down? And as crazy as it might sound for Drake, I mean, if any rapper's going to do it, I could totally see him doing it. And the way he's kind of responded to having this kid, supporting it, but also having this similar Drake-like reactions we'd expect, where he'd always promised himself he'd do better, and then now he's stuck doing the exact same thing his parents did. And he doesn't want that to happen. So I think that especially on the A side, there are some songs like Nonstop, not really sure. I mean, I like how he kind of uses his up-and-coming producer and Take Key, but not sure if that's necessarily Drake's kind of style or song. I don't think he's not like he's biting an up-and-coming style. I think he's giving recognition to a producer who for Block Boy, JP has been producing some of 2018's best beats. And I just don't think it fits in that setting, though, for Drake. But for the rest of that, the production side on it's awesome. I'm really surprised, honestly, that he chose I'm Upset as a single off there, because I think you could argue that as being, with Nonstop, as being one of the weakest tracks on the A side. I mean, I love Elevate. Emotionless, I think, really captures it. We all love God's Plan. 8 out of 10, I think, has that little bit of bravado, kind of cool feeling. Mob Ties is kind of catchy. Can't Take a Joke. It's all right. Sandra's Rose getting the more emotional feeling. The Jay-Z feature on Talk Up, absolutely love that. Great sampling in there. And I think Jay-Z's awesome, reflecting on the death of X and everything like that. He delivers what I would believe to be a verse that we're gonna remember for quite some time on Talk Up. So looking at the A side, I really enjoyed it. I really think Drake did a really solid job with that. Yeah, there are some misses on the tracks, but when you get 25 songs, you're gonna get a couple misses. And overall, a solid offering from the hip hop side. On the B side, I haven't listened to as much, but still, a lot of surprises that I definitely would not expect going into this project. I mean, you looked at the features from Michael Jackson. That one I loved, but Michael Jackson definitely is not a name you would expect. You'd going there expecting in 2018, but it's just this album on this part. We have Nice for What. I think March 14th is an awesome one. Don't Matter to Me, In My Feelings, Blue Tint, some great ones. Definitely some misses with Ratchet Happy Birthday. I would definitely agree with that one. I think there was, maybe you could have a hit or miss on that. That was definitely a miss in my eyes. But Peak, Summer Games, Jaded, it's just a very solid vibe, I guess, you can get from Drake on the R&B side, something that we would always want from him. We always get these little bits and pieces, but we never got for a full-length album. And this time he's saying, here's 13 tracks of me as R&B. Get that kind of sound that you want from it. And we get that, and we get that exactly how we would want it. So I think it's an awesome offering from Drake. I really like Scorpion. I can't wait to delve more into it, and I'll definitely be having a review coming soon. And with that, that'll wrap it up for this edition of the Jackson Neill Music Podcast. Just the sports one. You can check the Jackson Neill Sports and the Jackson Neill Music Podcast right here on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, and YouTube. They're updated 3 to 4 times a week, so check in on the feeds every other day or every day or so. Also, check out the Anything Goes with Jackson Neill podcast. That's for my radio show on 107.9 FM on Tuesdays. Check out my latest interview with Now Yoshioka. That's coming up this Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. My other interview with Tyler from last Tuesday, you can check that out in the feed as well as all my past interviews in case you want to check those out. Lil Xan, Bacon, Rhapsody, just Problem, a whole bunch of great people. Brent Faiyaz, some really cool conversations. I'd recommend all of them. Go out and check those back there. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JacksonNeill20 to catch snippets of interviews, updates as to what I'm doing, links, everything like that. Check those out. A big thank you for everyone for listening. I'll see you all next time.